Alright guys, we are happy to be working with the Bulldog Targets, and I've had some for about a year now, and Ben does as well. We both got this DoubleDog target here, and I've also got a doghouse target out in the truck. But we wanted to do a little bit of a review on these things. As you can see, I'll bring you up close. I've been shooting this side up over the last year, and it's still really nicely intact, but I wanted to do a true test for you guys. And so we're going to go ahead, I'm going to spin this around. This is the Plus series, as you can see by these dots they put on there, which just means it's even easier to pull out of the target. I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, clean face, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to shoot 3-spot Vegas style on these mini Vegas targets. Got a 10-yard shot here in my basement, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin it to the same spot every time. I'm going to try to shoot 5 to 10 ins a day, every day. We'll go for about a month or two, and we'll come back and look at how those 3 spots are holding up after all those arrows. One thing you'll notice if you do pin targets, some of the bigger pins, such as this pin here, they're pretty difficult to drive in. This woven fabric is so tight. I've seen people use a screwdriver, like a Phillips head, and kind of pop a hole and drive these in. I've been using these smaller diameter metal clips, which seem to work just fine. So we'll put our target on. I think that's where we're going to be shooting for. Like I said, those metal clips drive in just fine. There it is. So like I said, we're going to hammer those 3 spots, 5 to 10 ins a day, and do it for a month or so, and we'll see just how those spots hold up. Well, there's in number 1. Obviously not the best shooting. Season's over, I've been tweaking the bow a little bit, and I'm going to shoot it back into tune with some tweaks. But I'm shooting a Matthews 2020 VXR 31.5 inch. Got a 30-inch draw, shooting about 63 pounds, and let's see, Black Eagle Rampage's 300 spine, running 150 plus inserts up front, about 505 total grains. We got 4-fletched helical Q2Is on the back, pretty decent FOC. I get about 277, 280 feet per second or so. Plenty of kinetic energy, as shown by the recent deer hunting season. But we'll see how this target stands up then. Alright, stay tuned guys. One more thing to show you here for demonstration is just how easy they pull out of this Plus series. I do want to show you for disclaimer, as you'll see on my arrows, I do have a collar on there, and there's just that thread, the fabric on here is so tight that when you're pulling out with the collar, you're going to judge this target based on how easy the arrow pulls, and then that collar is going to catch on this clean side that hasn't been shot up at all. So that's a little more difficult to pull that collar lip out, but the arrow pull is truly just 2-finger pull, so just watch this here. This was at 10 yards, 2 fingers there. We got about 6 inches of penetration, and the collar caught, so I'm going to have to pull hard to get the collar past. But if you don't have a collar with the lip on there, that's going to come out real easy. And this will break in a little bit, it'll pull a little bit easier even with the collar. Alright guys, well, we just finished up the first 300 round, and walk you through the bow shop here, and we'll go up. You know, we've got our home gym. It's kind of a mess here in the basement, but like I said, we got that 10-yard shot, and if you look at the score, I'm not bragging about the score by any means. We're shooting small targets to reflect what it would be like at 20 yards. And that's actually my very first ever indoor 3D round for 300 Vegas. But shot 254 with 6Xs. But like I said, I'm in the process of dialing that bow back in after making some adjustments and need to tune it up. We're just going through bow form and testing out this target. So let me rip those off, and we'll look at what the holes look like after one 300 round. Granted, I'm not the greatest shot, so I'm not just pounding the 10X, but some of it was pretty tight. I think I hit right in here 3 or 4 times. And you can see it didn't really pop any fabric. It just spreads the fabric more than anything. And we'll see. I went ahead and marked my corners so we can make sure we put the target back on exactly the same every time. And I'm gonna try to shoot at least 5 rounds and try for 10 rounds every day. It gets a little harder during the week, but that'll do for day 1. Day 2 in the books, another 10 round. Excuse me, 10 ends, another 300 round. And like I said, we shot the same spots. I do want to show you guys this down here. I went ahead and shot one into the untouched face with the collars that I showed you I have on mine, the iron wheel collars, and then these bullet style almost flared field points. They do actually open probably a bigger hole, doing a little bit more damage to the target than a typical field point, so keep that in mind as we go through our testing. Something I forgot to mention yesterday. But yesterday you saw how much, you know, this would pop out of there when you just straight bolt. Just wanted to demonstrate. So the arrow slide is still that easy, and then if you just wiggle just a little and help it out, it's actually not even that hard. You can see what kind of damage that does with those flared tips. So this is a legitimate test. I think that's probably the most damage a field point could do. And so if you're using arrow diameter field points, you're not even going to get as much damage, and no collars, you're not even going to get nearly as much damage as what we're doing in this test. But as I said, today I shot my second 300 round. Did improve slightly over yesterday, which is nice. Those first few ends is pretty rough, and I was kind of chasing the pins around, but the last half of the round was some of the best shooting I've done for sure. But let's check out the damage. I've also found with these paper targets, if you duct tape, I use T-Rex tape, duct tape the corners before you put your pins in. I didn't have as much problem with the paper tearing and moving as I did yesterday in that first round. So you can see after 300 rounds, so what, 20 shots per target. All right, you're starting to see kind of obviously where the center points are. That's good. That means I'm shooting decent. Some flyers as we're sighting it in, but you can see the fabric doesn't really tear. It's kind of just displaced, and as you shoot beside it, it would mostly just slide it back over, covering the previous holes. It is a little softer right in the heart as it's broken through that, you know, cardboard that is behind the fabric here. But you didn't notice that the arrows were penetrating any deeper. One of these other days I'll try to show you arrow penetration that's not going any deeper into the target. It's just getting a little easier to pull out as the fabric is getting moved around. There's definitely been no pass-throughs. I mean, we're looking at a very thick target, and I'm getting 4 to 6 inches of penetration there. So 2 300 rounds holding up great. We're gonna get our target in place and get ready to shoot again tomorrow. I'm gonna just rifle through several days here, maybe check in every week or two, and show you guys what it looks like at that point. Well guys, I didn't plan on recording another video right away, but we're on day 3 of shooting 10 ends of Vegas 300 here. You can see I didn't score that round yet, but shot much better today. I'm working on the surprise release with the thumb release, which helped a ton with shooting better, but did have, I guess, some negative report. As you can see, 30th arrow here, punching that 10x, and you can tell this arrow here, new spot. You can see the difference in the penetration on this 3rd day. Obviously, you know, these targets aren't made for pounding the same spot over and over. That's why they're so big and at 10 yards, not to mention, but by pounding that 10x, I actually did get penetration through. A little bit of a surprise sound as it hit the metal plate back there. I didn't expect that to happen, I'll be honest, for sure. It seemed like even though the face was wearing out by pounding the same spot, the arrows didn't seem to be penetrating a whole lot deeper, but you can obviously tell that by that image that they were. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call that a wrap on this test. I don't think it's a problem with the target. I think it's a heavy arrow, short distance, high kinetic energy, and pounding the exact same spot over and over with those bullet heads. And I don't want to be penetrating through and hitting the concrete wall behind the target and wrecking my arrows. But all in all, in my opinion, I'd say it's a good test. That'd be 30 shots into a dime-sized hole, basically. I didn't shoot perfect, but most of them are hitting the 9-10 ring. And so, and it's on a micro target, you can see. Yeah, let me show you the face. As you can see on the scorecard, I tend to pound the 10x on that target number 3. Must be a good spot for me. But here's probably 10x on target 1, a little soft. Target 2 is pretty open. Target 3, I mean, I've opened a good hole there. That's probably why we got so much penetration on that very last shot. But all in all, like I said, it was 30 shots into each hole. We're shooting at 10 yards across the basement. Pretty good kinetic energy on a heavier arrow setup with the big bullet fronts, doing a lot more damage on each shot. You know, if I shot around the target or I was shooting out a little more distance, I doubt that we hammer it through that quickly. But it did catch me off guard that we actually got full penetration there all of a sudden. All in all, like I said, I think it's a good test. I think it's a great target. I'm just gonna move around the Vegas target now to shoot my ends every day. And we'll try to do some outdoor testing on it when it's a little bit nicer. We'll get you another video going on that at some point soon. If you guys are interested in checking out these targets, I think they're totally worth the money. And you can use our code below, that BD10-MAO, and get yourself $10 off a target. If we end up with a different code down the road, we'll update it here and post it on our social media. But check them out, guys. It's a great target. Like I said, you've got just tons of room there for moving that mini target around so that you're not punishing it like that. And lasts forever. When you do wear them out, you can always just replace the face. So good review. Let us know what you guys think about the target, anything you want to see. We'll see you.